Welcome back. After being stuck at home for months, kids are back in the classroom, but for some students, this transition has been a real struggle. You know, juggling classwork, extracurricular activities, on top of all of that, the stress of having to readjust to in-person learning. Learning has left many of these kids feeling tired and a lot of them feeling really burned out. So, how can you as a parent help? What can you do about it? Joining us this morning is clinical psychologist Dr. Regine Mouradian. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have so much to talk about because I think so many parents 100% can relate to this, and they're watching their kids go through this. So, first of all, why is this post-COVID, actually we're still in COVID, why is this burnout happening?
Yes. So the way I kind of see it and what I've been seeing around, even with my kids and clients and et cetera, has been that during the quarantine period, when kids were learning from home, they had to teach themselves the material. They had to take tests on their own in an isolated environment without any type of peer interaction. So this kind of created a sense of isolation. But on the good side, it also created an opportunity for more flexibility and time to do their work. So now that kids are back in the classroom, they have to relearn how to study, how to multitask, all these extracurricular activities. And this has definitely increased their stress levels, this sense of feeling overwhelmed that I'm hearing a lot, hence leading.
I also feel like trying to focus, right? A lot of kids struggled with trying to focus. It wasn't ideal for them to be in these Zoom-like settings. It was difficult for them to focus. Now they're back in an in-person learning situation, having to actually focus. You can't just go and do whatever you want. And also, I think one of the other things I'm noticing is having to relearn how to socialize with their peers.
Yes, absolutely, Araxia. I think this has been something that we've been expecting that was happening. And I think now what also we're seeing is, you're right, is that interaction socially that's creating that sense of stress because they just have to relearn that. But there's also less time to recharge that they used to have at home. There's also this feeling of more disruptive behaviors that we have been seeing across the country in schools as a response to the increase in stress. So the fatigue, like you said, and low motivation is definitely kicking in right now.
I feel like there's a lot of regression. In fact, I want to talk about the signs of burnout for you to recognize. What are some of these signs, including regression? What else makes that list?
Well, right now we're also seeing a lot of depression-like symptoms, not turning in assignments, grades declining, falling asleep in class, insomnia. So keeping in mind, what time is your child really falling asleep, even though they're going to bed at 10 p.m.? Also, what we're seeing is they're not able to keep up with the extracurricular activities. They were probably doing 2 before, now they're probably only handling 1 at most.
Wait, I'm so glad you brought this up because I feel like I'm so guilty of this right now. Because last year so many people couldn't do a lot of things and then things started to slowly open up, parents started enrolling their kids into a ton of extracurricular activities, also kind of making up for lost time and trying to pack that child's schedule. Is that a good idea? And how do you know what to pull back from? Because you want them to be doing music and sport and art and this and that. It's too much almost, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where we have as parents to give them a sense of control and really help them to kind of prioritize these goals. And that's where we can come in as a parent to help them and see, let's do one thing at a time. Let's choose one activity that you really love, because they may like basketball and dance, for example, but only be able to handle just one of those activities. So having, again, that conversation and seeing how is it interfering also with their other activities, such as schoolwork and their socializing, in terms of if they're feeling burnt out and having a hard time, such as complaining of not wanting to go anymore or my stomach's hurting.
One of the things that I know you talk about, I think is so important, is teaching kids that it's okay not to be great at everything. We're talking about being enrolled in all these extracurricular activities. But if you're not great at something but have a passion for it, don't let that be the thing you step back from, right? Failure is part of the learning process.
Yes. Yes, it's absolutely. And I think it's when we go back as a parent and we help them kind of prioritize and set goals that are very realistic. I think it's all about, again, giving them control over that decision making, because it makes it then more powerful. So sitting down with them, maybe creating a schedule also that they can stick to and help them with that, and making maybe a checklist of things that they really love and creating a plan. Okay, we'll try this first and then we'll go on to the next thing, and taking it slow.
I want people to be sure to check out your book, a copy that we have at our home. It's a great book, Dr. Mouradian's book right there, Frankie and the Worry Bees, available in bookstores and online. She actually has several books. Be sure to also follow her on Instagram. You always put out such great content, some great tips and advice for parents and guardians out there. Really nice to see you and speak with you, Dr. Mouradian. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexia.